Well, welcome to Lesson 2.5. We are going to work on adding and subtracting like fractions. We've recently learned how to multiply and divide fractions. So we'll start this lesson out when we have like denominators. Those are called like fractions when the denominators are the same. And in order to add or subtract those kinds of fractions, what we're going to do is just add or subtract the numerators, and the denominator stays the same. So here's a couple of examples for you. 1/5 plus 3/5, all we do is add the numbers on the top, that's the numerator, so we get a 4 on the top, and the denominator stays the same. Once we get our answer, we need to make sure to check that to see if we need to simplify it. So if there are any common factors shared between the numerator and denominator, we would need to reduce that. Here's an example for you, 5/8 plus -7/8, and we want to write this in simplest form. Well, 5 plus a -7, we need to go ahead and write what 5 plus -7 is using our rules for addition and subtraction. When they're opposite signs, that means we're going to subtract 7 from 5, so we get -2/8, and then we can always simplify. Always check to see if you can simplify, and in this example we can divide both of these by 2, which gives us -1/4. One thing I want to mention is the sign. It doesn't matter if you put the negative sign in front of the number or with the top number or the bottom number, as long as it's there somewhere. It doesn't matter which number that's associated with. Here are a bunch of examples. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can come up with these answers on your own, and I will give you your answers in just a minute. Alright, I hope you took some time for that. 5/9 plus 7/9 is 16/9, and if we reduce 16/9, we get 1 1/3. Letter B, -5/9 plus 1/9 is -4/9. So there's letter B. Letter C, -1/6 plus -5/6 is -6/6, which is the same as -1. If we're going to subtract like fractions, we do the same process, we just subtract the numerators. And again, always check to make sure you're in the simplest form. So we have -8/9 plus -7/9. And -8 and -7 give us -15/9. And then we divide 9 into 15. There is one full 9 contained in there, and we have 6 left over. So we have -1 6/9, but this can be reduced by if we go ahead and divide both of these numbers right here by 3. Right? If we divide each of these by 3, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So that's how we end up with the -1 2/3. Again, please pause the video, see if you can get these answers on your own, and I'll give you the answers when you come back. Alright, hope you took some time to do that. -4/5 and -3/5 is -7/5, and if we reduce -7/5, we end up getting -1 2/5 in simplest form. Letter E, 3 minus 5/8 is -2/8. So we'll start out initially with -2/8, but then we can reduce that, and that reduces to -1/4. Letter F, 5/7 minus a -4/7. Now in this one you have to be careful because minus a minus, remember you always have to change that to a plus. So we have 5/7 plus 4/7, which is 9/7. And then if we reduce that to simplest form as a mixed number, that's 1 2/7. Adding mixed numbers. In order to add mixed numbers, what we're going to do is we're going to add or subtract the whole numbers, just depending on what the problem says, and then we'll add the fractions separately. So 5 7/9 plus 8 4/9, we'll add the 5 and the 8, and then we'll add the 7/9 and the 4/9. Well, the 5 plus 8 gives us 13. 7/9 plus 4/9 gives us 11/9, and 11/9 is the same as 1 2/9 right here. So now we have 13 plus 1 2/9, which is 14 2/9. Try these on your own, and I'll give you the answers when you come back. All right, let's take a look at these. Excuse me. So on letter G, we have 9 minus 3, which gives us 6. 5/8 minus 3/8 gives us 2/8, but that can be reduced. So we would write that in simplest form as 6 1/4. Letter H, 8 minus 6 gives us 2, and we have 0 ninths minus 2 ninths. So we have to take 2, and then we still have to subtract 2 ninths from that. So really that's 1 and 9 ninths minus 2 ninths. Whoops, lost my negative in there. So in this case, our simplest form, we're going to get 1 and 7 ninths. Okay? And letter I, -8 plus a -6. When we add those together, they're the same sign. We're going to get -14. And then we have 5 ninths and 2 ninths would give us 7 ninths. So our overall answer on that one should be -14 and 7 ninths. Sometimes we have to regroup before we can subtract our numbers. Here's an example. It says horses are measured by a unit called a handbreadth or hand. How much taller is a horse that's 14 1/4 hands tall than one that is 12 3/4 hands tall? So we want to subtract these numbers, but if you look at the fraction part, I cannot take away 3/4 right here from 1/4. I don't have enough fourths to take away. So we have to borrow from the 14 and make that a 13, and then we're going to add 4/4 to this one. So we end up having 13 5/4 to start with. And then we'll subtract the 12 3/4. Well, now we have enough to subtract. 5/4 minus 3/4 is 2/4, and 13 minus 12 is 1. So we have 1 2/4, but in reduced form, it's 1 1/2. So the first horse is 1 1/2 hands taller than the second horse. Here's a good one for you to try on your own. A recipe for chocolate cookies has 2 3/4 cups of flour. And Alexis has 1 1/4 cups of flour. How much more does she need in order to make her batch of cookies? Go ahead and try this on your own, and I'll give you the answer when you come back. All right, hope you took a chance to try that one. What we need is 2 3/4. Whoops, hang on just a second, I'll get rid of that. Hit the wrong button there. So I need 2 3/4. I want to subtract 1 1/4. Okay, and find out what I get. Well, 3/4 minus 1/4 is 2/4. 2 minus 1 is 1, but I need to reduce that. That is not in simplest form. So 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So my answer is 1 1/2 cups. All right, here's a quiz for you. I want to highlight this. Make sure you recognize I will be collecting this in class. So this is a quiz. Please make sure you do these 6 problems on your own. And I will be collecting this when you come into class tomorrow. See you then.